Hi guys, so with Valentine's Day just around the corner, I wanted to do something that I haven't done in a very long time to, get into the mood for this love holiday. So what I'm talking about is reading a romance novel. I haven't read a romance novel in many years, but I'm not like actually disliking them. I used to have a phase in like my early 20s where I did quite enjoy reading a romance novel, or especially romantic comedy. I was quite into that genre for a while. And still now I do enjoy like watching a cute little feel-good romance movie, for example. So I'm not like very opposed to that kind of genre. It just felt like over the years as I get older, it didn't feel like very challenging of a story usually to me anymore. Like I needed it to be a smart story, like something that I have to also think a little bit about, and not just everything that was, very clear from the very beginning how the story would develop or unfold. So I started to feel a little bit exhausted by these kind of very straight to the point love stories that don't have a lot of, like twists and turns and, something smart thing happening and developing and stuff like that. But now I did want to give this genre a chance again. And I tried to pick something that was along my taste that I think I would like. And I went with Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Amazing last name, by the way. I'm not sure if that's her real name. But the reason I mainly picked this story was because I read a little bit about her as an author. So I did a little bit of background research on what might be to my taste nowadays. And with Ollie Hazelwood's books, what I find very interesting is that she is only writing in this niche that is focusing on romance novels in the setting of academia and universities and science. So I thought, okay, that might be an interesting twist. And so I thought, if there's some science mixed into the romance, that could be a good mix for me. So I gave the Love Hypothesis a chance. So what is the book about? The Love Hypothesis is about Olive. Olive is a Canadian PhD student in the US at Stanford. She's in her mid-20s and she is very much focused on her work. She is alone. She doesn't have a lot of friends. She has like these very two close friends, but she doesn't really have anybody else in her life. She's really just focused on her research, which is about cancer, which is what she lost her mother to, which we learn very soon in the story as well. So she's very much focused on finding a cure for the specific kind of cancer that took her mother away from her. So she's very much work focused. She does not really have much interest in romance and relationships and anything that comes with that. She's just focused on her work. But she did have had a few dates with this guy Jeremy, and it didn't really work out. She was not very much interested in him. He was not interested in her, and they kind of parted ways amicably. But then what happened is Olive's best friend Anne was very much into Jeremy, and she didn't want to date Jeremy because she felt like why it kind of violates the girl code of dating an ex. And Olive just tried to make Anne feel comfortable about dating Jeremy. She was pushing her to do it, but Anne just wouldn't. So Olive kind of came up with this idea of finding a fake boyfriend to make Anne feel comfortable dating this Jeremy guy. And what Olive ended up doing basically is fake dating one of the most well-known professors at the university at Stanford, which is Dr. Adam something. I don't remember his last name. And Dr. Adam is very much well known on the campus for number one, being brilliant, and number two, for being an absolute ass to everybody and all the students. So people are kind of surprised when Olive starts dating him, and she is, surprised on how nice this guy actually is to her and how well they get along. And then obviously over time, there is this kind of connection that forms, and the fake dating and real feelings, they kind of start to get mangled up, and both of them are not very much sure, okay, how much of these feelings are now real, how much is not real. And that's basically what the whole story is about, and that is unfolding in front of us here. Now, without going too much into the story, I do have a few notes here that I want to talk about. Things that I liked, that I disliked about this book, that I found believable or not very, very believable. So, let's get into this here. What I absolutely dislike about this book, although it gives it like this nice little character to the book that makes it feel very unique. So what Ali, the author, does here is at the beginning of each book, she writes like a 2 sentence cute little hypothesis, basically, that starts off the chapter. For each chapter she does that. And the problem with that is basically in these 2 sentences, she spoils the whole chapter, what will happen in the chapter going on, or the most important plot point that is coming up in the chapter. So she is like, okay, hypothesis, if I start dating the most antagonistic professor on the campus, this and this will happen for sure. And then this and this actually unfolds in the chapter. And we already knew after the first 2 sentences of the chapter. So I very much dislike that, because it's just kind of a summary of the whole book, and of each chapter at the beginning of each chapter, that spoils the whole plot, and it's just absolutely annoying. Although it's kind of cool, it's cute, but she should have put something in there that doesn't spoil the whole chapter, I would say. What I did like, however, was that the setting of this university campus at Stanford, and having gone to university myself, and I'm very much enjoying university campuses. So whenever I travel, I try to see 1 or 2 universities as well in a new city, because I feel like university campuses, they have something, um, I don't know what it is. They have something very unique and special and magical about them. And because there's all this kind of hope and motivation, and it's full of life and people that still want to achieve something in their life. And at the same time, they always also felt very much romantic to me. So I think it's a very good setting for a romance comedy kind of book to write about. So, which is where this kind of whole academia setting that Ali uses for her books comes into play. I think it works very well together. There's a lot of back and forth banter between the characters that is focused on like scientific talk back and forth. That's very witty. It's a very fun and cute writing style that's also very smart, which I did enjoy very much. So I did enjoy the setting of this university campus and the kind of possibilities that come with it to connect it into a romance comedy. Now, what I did have a hard time believing, or found a little bit, I don't know, maybe I just don't know because I didn't study in the US, but I do know that education is very expensive in the US. I'm not quite sure how it is for like a science major as a PhD candidate. And I would assume that they are quite low on money, low on cash. But with Olive, number one, she said multiple times that she has a full ride scholarship, and she is like sharing the costs of living with her 2 friends, I believe. And still she is always, saying that she is not able to afford anything, basically, like down to the toothpaste, basically. She is going to all these events to get, free food and free drinks, which is understandable to some degree, but I feel that it's very much exaggerated here. Like, is it like, let me know in the comments below, like US students, is it really that much of a problem for a student in the US, a PhD candidate? Is money that much of a trouble as it is mentioned in this book here? Because it seems very much unbelievable. And if it's really that bad, then guys, please come to Europe to study. It's much cheaper here. Now, the next thing I wrote down is with Adam's character. The problem here is that in the beginning of the book, I would say the first third of the book, it's multiple times we are being told that he's just an ass to everybody. He's a bad person. He's a bad personality. But we see zero or very little evidence of that, except for him maybe getting, upset about the student's dissertation or that kind of stuff, which you would expect from a professor at that level. But it's really like she's really trying to hammering home the point that this is just a bad guy and everybody thinks of him as a horrible person basically, but we don't see any evidence for that. So I found that very unbelievable. We do see a little bit of evidence later on, but it's definitely not the case. It's basically just the case that he is kind of doing a trying to do a good job for his students. He's trying to push them hard as well, but he is not attacking anybody personally, and he is just being professional. He's not concerned about emotions very much. He's just being professional. He's doing his job, and he's being a good teacher actually. Yeah, he may be a little bit unapproachable. He may be not very outgoing, but why would that make him like the biggest ass on campus? I found that very difficult to believe, to be honest. Now, I talked about the writing style. I very much enjoy Ali Hazelwood's writing style. It's very witty, like even to the point of her writing down emails between different characters, and then, you know, Olive is forgetting to attach an attachment to an email, and there's a second one, oops, I forgot, which is very much, you know, believable in how real life email conversations would go. And also, you know, these are other kind of quirks, and the characters, they feel very well developed. So I really did feel like I got to know Olive throughout this book, which I enjoy, the kind of character development that goes deep. We know her motives, we know how she functions, and where her values are. So I did like that very much. And Ali Hazelwood is able to keep the theme still mostly light, but she's also being serious when it's required. So I really much do enjoy her writing style here in this book. What I did find a little bit over the top is those two chapters towards the end of the book, where it's basically just and I don't mind reading some erotica. I really don't mind it, but like this could have been shortened down to like half a chapter. Why do we need two full chapters of detailed description on their sex life? Like that's just not what I'm here for. So I did find that a little bit cringe, and then also to think about that the bonus chapter that she has at the end that is told from Adam's point of view is also very much sexual. So why do we need that when she wants to focus more on like a smart kind of romance or romantic comedy? And I agree that we can have that in a book like this. I don't mind it at all, but why does it need to be that drawn out? It just felt boring to read. Like I don't know. It was too long for me. So yeah, what did I think about the love hypothesis? I rated it as 3 out of 5 stars. I think it was quite a good book. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed reading it. I was actually surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I would not go on to, you know, reading many more of these books like in the near future. It's not my genre that I enjoy at the moment, but I really had a good time reading it, and I might at some point go back to Ali Hazelwood, her books, read another one of these. That might be interesting. I really like that she kind of really narrowed down on this very specific niche of academia and romance put together. I find that works very well together. I think she also mentioned at the end of the book that she just wanted to write about something that she knows about. So I believe she is an academic. She has gone through all of these experiences. So I think that works very well for her. And what I also like is the kind of little background knowledge of her, that she used to write Star Wars fan fiction, which I find hilarious and amazing. And it's great that somebody like that finds the courage to write original fiction and publish her own books. I find it absolutely wonderful. More power to her. That's great. And I love that, like, with all these new ways and possibilities and opportunities for writers to publish books and publish books also themselves for the first few books. I love that we get to see more variety of writers, and that it's easier for them to find and gain a platform basically. So yeah, I did very much enjoy the love hypothesis. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments below, what did you think about this book? What do you think about the author? Or do you think there's anything else out there that is similar to this that you would want me to have a look at? Please let me know in the comments below. Other than that, I wish you guys a happy Valentine's Day when it's coming up finally, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.